this is not reality and it doesn't need to make sense. It's literally just changing the way the neurons are connecting in your brain. So the first question is from Prachi. She says, so as Odille mentioned about the generational childhood meditation, well, my problem while doing that is I can't imagine anything like my grandparents, not even my parents. And I don't even know what my grandparents look like. It's difficult imagining them and even the things you talked about. Thank you, Prachi, for the question. And you're not alone. This is a challenge that a lot of people have with changing generational memories. I'm going to answer the logic of it first and give you some steps. And then finally, I'll give you a special little additional technique at the end if you're still finding it difficult to change them. First of all, the important thing to bear in mind when changing any memories is that this is not about being accurate. It's about imagination. So because we're changing the memories for the benefit of the unconscious part of the brain, not the conscious mind, and the unconscious part of the brain can't tell the difference between reality and fact and imagination, you can literally make it up. So this means that you don't need to know what your grandparents and parents look like. You can just imagine any looks and just know that those are your grandparents as children or your parents as children. So if you try right now, just imagine a little boy, and it doesn't matter what he looks like, just a little boy, and then just decide that that's your grandfather. Then give that little boy all of the qualities and the experiences from the generational childhood transformation meditation. I'll post the link to that in the description of this video for those who don't have it. And as you do that, notice what happens inside you. Notice any feelings of resistance or contradicting thoughts that come up, and then answer those and change any negative memories of how you know that this new memory isn't true or isn't real. So for example, when I did this with my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother, I tried to imagine this little girl in a pretty dress. And as I did that, the thought popped into my mind that my grandmother was working from 4 years old and she had a really hard life with lots of suffering. So I answered that by reminding myself that this isn't really her. It's just literally just neurons connecting in my brain. And the unconscious part of my brain doesn't know it's not real. And I thought about the fact that if her parents had had different childhoods, they would have been different parents to her, and her life would have been completely different. So I went back one more generation. And although I know very little about her parents and I have no idea what they looked like, I made it up. So I created the ideal life for them, a beautiful home, an easy, relaxed life, fun, lots of love and affection. And I used the generational childhood memory transformation meditation for each of my grandmother's parents. Then I came back to her life and did the same for her. And each time a contradicting thought popped up, I answered it and changed any contradicting memories. And I kept reminding myself, this is not reality and it doesn't need to make sense. It's literally just changing the way the neurons are connecting in your brain. Try that. And if you still find it difficult or you're still experiencing resistance, there's two more things you can do. The first is you can do the due justice technique. And I'll put a link to that in the description of this video as well for those that don't have it. And then once you've done the due justice technique, try the generational childhood memory transformation meditation again. Go back a generation or two if you need to, reminding yourself that if their parents had been happy, healthy, financially free, kind, compassionate, affectionate, relaxed, supportive, they would have grown into different adults and been different parents to your grandparents, which would have meant your grandparents would have been different parents to your parents, which would have changed who your parents became. And then they would have been different parents to you. And finally, if you're still finding it difficult or you're still experiencing resistance, try this little exercise. Imagine your mother when you were a child standing in front of you. Now imagine a hat on her head. Make it a yellow sun hat. Now change that yellow sun hat to a black cowboy hat. And now change it to a blue baseball cap. And keep doing this, changing the hats until it's easy to do. And once it's easy to imagine different hats on your mum's head, move to the next step. So the next step is change her hair in your mind. So change the color of your mother's hair, change the style. And again, keep doing that. So give her pigtails, give her braids, keep changing her hair until it's easy to do. Then change her clothes. So imagine her in different colors and styles of clothes and outfits. Then put a red nose on her and a mustache. Then make her sit down. Now make her stand up again. And now imagine music and make her dance. So keep playing around like this and have some fun with it until it's really easy to change her in your mind. And what we're doing here is we're helping your brain to become comfortable with making changes to images in your mind. And for those who aren't visual, it's okay. Just imagine how you know something. So how do you know an orange is orange? And however you know an orange is orange, that's how you'll know your mother's wearing a cowboy hat. All right. So keep playing around with it because the brain can have, defense mechanism up to making changes because it feels like it's dangerous. But we know it's not dangerous because it's just neurons connecting and nobody outside of you is actually changing. So this is like making it more pliable, making it easier to change things that are not a threat. So wearing a hat, not wearing a hat, different color hair, those kinds of things your brain can see as not a threat, and it'll help to bring that resistance down. And then once it's easy, so do the same. So you've done that with your mother, do the same with your father and your grandparents. And then once it's easy to do this with all of them, try doing the generational childhood memory transformation meditation again and see if it's easier now. All right, I hope that helps, but let me know if you need more suggestions or clarification on it. Thank you.